Hi there. So it's been a bit of a busy time. But I'm here now. I'm going to do some little line works with you. But I just wanted to quickly show you. I mentioned I did this little series and I couldn't find them. Of just sort of painting. It was like painting emotions actually. So I was using colours and I was just using abstract forms, if you like, different colours, different patterns. It was obviously a bad day. Got a bit of gold leaf out. I love a bit of gold leaf. So we're just playing around with that idea really, and they can work as backgrounds, or you can have a go at kind of just using the painting as a technique to feel into emotions. I mean, we're not doing an emotion-based course, but there's nothing wrong with adding a little bit of that into just playing around with different colours and noticing what colours come up for you, how they make you feel. It's a bit jaggy, but I like it. I like that. Shapes, a bit of circular action, a bit more of what we were doing the other day, a bit messy. And I've also mixed in sticking like washi tape and things to that as well with paint. So it was just a playful thing to do, but actually doing it was a really I love these. I love all the gold in that. I am a magpie. Um, yeah, just losing yourself because in these sorts of things, there's no real right or wrong. It's just about making marks, little dashes, trying light on dark, dark on light, anything in between, mixing up colours and mixing up colours unintentionally, mixing up colours that um, you weren't expecting. And it's interesting playing with colours. I mean, we were using reds this week, kind of loosely based on the root chakra. But that's red is a warm color. And when you start mixing colors, we have warm colors and we have cold colors. And when you mix the warm and cold colors, that's when you go into the kind of muddy brown arena that you might not want. You can make gorgeous browns, but there are other ways. But with acrylics, I was talking about how they dry, and if you're going to mix hot and cold colours, what I'd recommend is using the warm colours or the cold colours, letting them dry, then use the other on top. So then you don't get that mixing, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's have a little go at just getting used to our brushes. So I pulled out a brand new round number 8, which are the ones that were in the starter kits, if anyone got, well, no, a few of you got them. So it's just a nice brush to use. Good size, and it's got a nice point on it, that one. I think they'll do that, don't they? As you can see. I'm using the back of my lovely new art journal. So I thought I'd keep my, whatever we're doing during the week, my kind of pages, if you like, at the front with a few mixing colour bits. And then at the back, I'll do practice. So I'll probably kind of use this space for sort of doing the mixing colour as well. You can play with these, as in you can make some pattern. You can do it as an exercise and just be done with it, or you can, as I say, do some pattern and just relax into it like a bit like a doodle. So you can make it a mindful sort of activity, a kind of art journaling thing. So I have covered my brush. I've gone into it, I've wet it as I always do, dabbed it on my paper, and I've gone into, I'm just going to use black just to make it nice and simple. Rolled it in, and I'm pulling it towards me so that I get a nice point. It's not dripping wet, but it's got a nice nice point to it, and there's a good amount of paint on it. What are we going to do? Let us try just lying the brush down, making a pattern with that. So that's my point, and I'm pressing down. So I'm getting a kind of teardrop. You don't have to dip in each time. Lie it down, squish. I'm just turning the brush around a little bit, lie it down, squish. And I'm just creating these little teardrops, a bit of water dripping there. Or these could also lend themselves as petals. But what I want you to start noticing is, see, that's a smaller one. is how much pressure you're putting on. How much pressure do you need to put on? Actually, how much paint do you need to put on? Let's just reload that. And I'm just using the brush a bit like a stamp at the moment. Creating these really nice, simple. You can tell I can't do two things at once. Be my masculine energy. Yeah, so just pressing down. So point, press. And I'm just going into that groove. Point and press. So I'm just going to make, it's quite nice if you're doing practicing, you might as well make it look nice. Point, press. So the point is no pressure, I'm not pressing down on it. And as I come down, adding more pressure, squishing the brush out so it becomes thicker. Because I do this sort of thing quite often, I am not having to think too much about it. But you might start touching. You might start overthinking it. And if that's the case, try not to. I know easily said than done. Each time I'm moving, I'm kind of, I don't know if you can see, I'm just twisting my brush around, really, so that there's, as I squish down, I'm getting the paint moving over to the other side. Let's do one more line. And you can carry on. You can carry on and create a whole page of these petal / teardrops. No pressure, pressure. Squish. And they aren't exactly the same size. I mean, that might be something you want to work on. If you want sort of, if you're kind of a bit of a perfectionist. I am not. Well, you know, to a certain degree. Now I'm going to do one more line. This is very relaxing, actually. I might be here a while. No, I'm going to do this line. So as you go, you'll start getting more confident with your dashes. I've got a little bit messy, haven't I? So you could try and concentrate on getting really neat lines. If that's your way. Neat isn't really my way. Okay, so that's those. Let's do a dot and a line, dot and a line, dot and a line. So I'm not putting any pressure on these at all. I'm just using the very tip of my brush, my round brush. Turn that round. Ooh, a bit more pressure, see? And roll my brush each time. Ooh, it's a bit thicker with the paint. So Saturday night, I'm here home alone. Nick's gone off. He was taking our younger son back to uni, and then he's going to go and stay with friends in London. So I am home alone and I have the house to myself with dogs. It's actually really nice. That mean? No, I don't think it's mean. It means we're just well and truly getting back into normal life. Right, I'm just going a bit faster now, but you don't have to, but you could play around with speed. The little dash. Put a bit more paint on there, and I'm just concentrating on using the tip. I feel like I've got a bit too much of a gap there, rushing it, you see. I have set myself up. I'm just waiting for my supper to cook, but got myself some nibbles. I've got some olives and nuts. few leftovers from Christmas I found in the cupboard. And then I also got some, actually it's pretty disgusting, but I've got, I've got, what is it? Oh, it's a passion fruit martini. It's very sweet. It's not really my thing, but it's in the fridge, so I thought, let's put it out of its misery. No, I thought it'd be nice to have something that's cool and refreshing, but it is a bit like, do you remember Lilt? It's a bit like that. I don't really like it. And no, I won't force it. I mean, I'll drink it if I want to. I'm not going to force it down because it's there. Too much information about the drink. But what I'm saying is just relax, get a cup of tea or whatever, drink of choice, nibbles, and just relax into this sort of playing. Okay, so we've got point and squish. Now we've got thin, 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 trying to really concentrate on. So you can carry on with that. And now we're going to try something else. We're going to do thin, squish, thick, come up, thin. I might make them slightly staggered. So thin, thick, thin. No pressure, press down, come up. Just control that tip as you're coming up. And all this is all just practice. And you might think, well, I'm never going to use that shape. It's actually the practice for my tiger stripes in the face painting. But it's about learning to control, about having to, not having, you know, having being able to get the pressure right, have control of your brush. Because there are areas, like I was saying, I think this week I was saying about the weight. So if you have a picture, if you add a sort of slightly darker line, it kind of gives this weight, so it kind of feels like it's heavier. So if you're drawing, I don't know, a chair, you might give a little bit more denseness, like thick darkness, say with a pencil, to the feet of the chair, and maybe a little bit on the seat, and it just gives this idea that it's three-dimensional, but also it's got some heaviness about it. Trees are really good for doing sort of that sort of practice. I've gone a bit wonky there. You know, with the lightness, like we were doing, the lightness of the leaves, and then the heaviness of the trunk and the branches, and then how the branches come away from the trunk. They're going to be stronger, so they'll be darker and thicker. And you can sort of do a few things where you'll do a brush stroke and that will work really well, and you don't need to kind of draw, you know, get complicated with drawing techniques. Not sure if I like this one. Let's see. I was going to try and do an upside down, but the brush is doing something a bit odd. Blaming my tool. Couldn't take it into a triangle, which is sort of interesting. This sort of reminds me of that sort of ikat. Is it ikat? Ikat? That weaving. You get the sort of idea, like this look of like an ombre, but with fabric, with threads. The thing is, you can put some music on. I've said this before, actually, when I'm doing mine, I can't see how that works. I can't put music on because then I put it through the WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, what am I talking about? YouTube. And if you've got music, then tells you you're using it without a license. So I can't put my music on, but I would. Sometimes when I'm doing this sort of thing, practicing or doing pictures, got a little yummy one for you next week, I will put on a film. So that's just practicing circle in one stroke. So again, thin in the beginning. Let's try this. Might want a bit more water. Right. So thin, we're going to put a little curl in it. And this is all about how to sort of learn how to have that control, what you can get out of your brush. I'm just making some pattern whilst we're doing it. So thin, slightly thicker, coming up thin. If my brush feels like needs a bit of a wash, as in just needs a bit of water, but might have too much paint on it. So I'm constantly kind of wiping, washing, reloading, playing around, different feels. So let's try this. This is like, oh, she said, a bit like a C. Let's just concentrate on the C. This is how I tell people to do their crescent moons as well. So it's thin, thick, and then thin. We do get a lot of variation on that. I'm just going to take it round the other way, slightly smaller. Okay. And little lines, I'm pressing down quite hard. And I'm still getting that slight point just because that brush is nice and new. So you're getting naturally. I'm just going to turn that around. Lines that come back the other way. So you're kind of moving your wrist in a slightly different manner. I quite like how we're getting this, you know, when the paint's running out, quite like that. Okay. I think that's giving you a little bit of food for thought. I'm just going to turn my brush around, dip into the black. I'm just going to do a little spot. So I dip in each time to get a nice plump dot, just with the bottom of my brush. These little dots, one, they're really good as eyes for animals and stuff, They're good for the centre of flowers. They're good for pattern, I'll repeat. They're good for just doing little dots that you make patterns with. I always like this little kind of number as well. We just do little dashes. Go anywhere. And then bits of darker colour, you can do them in gold, different colours. It's quite fun. Okay, so I'm going to leave that little page with you for tonight. Have a little practice and see what you come up with. Just practice. It's really about getting this thin line to thick line and just being able to kind of know how much pressure, sort of understanding your pressure. As in, I've sort of probably mentioned to you that you're using a pen, we're all going to have different handwriting. So it's similar with this. We're going to have different looks, different feels, but it is good to have some control. You can start learning having some control with your brush. It really is helpful for painting, moving on. Okay, and it's not, I'm going to get told. Let's have a little sip of this passion fruit martini. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. I'll tell you what it tastes like. Tastes like those, get those vitamin C fizzy things. Yeah, tastes like that. It's not going to last the night, I can tell you that now. Anyway, right. Well, I'm going to see you on Monday night. And I might just give you some colour mixing tomorrow. I've got a party, a children's party tomorrow. I get a moment in the morning, I will. And then I'm going to do a daily prompt next week for you for your sketchbook, which I'll do as well. All right. Enjoy this evening. I hope you enjoy doing your exercises. Bye.